Good morning, this is KELOLAND On the Go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
The water rose so quickly at Mook Lake in southeastern South Dakota that many people left behind their belongings and rushed to higher ground.
It's a good thing they did because the damage is extensive. This is just one of the areas state officials want you to avoid.
The thing that I'm going to ask everybody is to continue to stay away if they can, to evacuate their homes if they can, and to stay off our roadways. Don't come look at the flood waters at this point in time. We have seen the Big Sioux crest, but we are still continuing to deal with the Missouri River and the levels that it is at. And then we also are going to continue to see the Vermilion and James crest a little bit later on.
Now, being one of the places hit the hardest from the flooding that occurred over the weekend, residents near Mook Lake are left picking up the pieces this week. Several homes were swept off their foundations and collapsed in the high water after the state built a berm to try and redirect some of the flooding. Residents say it happened so fast there was little time to react.
As soon as they put the berm up, the water just started coming through the field over here, and you could just see it seeping, and then it just came up. And when the 5 minutes, looked out the front door, and it was a river of water already coming through.
Emergency personnel say they haven't had a chance to count exactly how many homes have been destroyed or damaged by the floodwaters.
A railroad bridge in North Sioux City collapsed into the Big Sioux River. Police say it happened around 11 o'clock Sunday night. Yesterday, several people headed to the site to see the aftermath for themselves.
And then I heard about the bridge going out this morning from a friend of ours, and so we decided just to drive out here and take a look.
Union County Emergency Management says some of the bridge's trusses collapsed, causing the bridge to fall. Near Rock Valley, a levee break along the Rock River caused flooding on the west side of the city over the weekend. Since then, residents have been hard at work assessing the damage and cleaning up their homes and businesses.
They're busy working in the garage right now. Some things up on the top shelf were saved. They're out on the driveway power washing off. They came with a tank of water because we have no water, gas-powered power washer. So they're busy trying to clean that up.
The American Red Cross has shelters set up at Faith Reformed Church and Trinity Christian Reformed Church in Rock Valley. Now let's check in with meteorologist Brian Karstens. They don't need it, but more rain a possibility today, Brian.
Yeah, and unfortunately for some of these folks here south of Sioux Falls, that's where we probably have the best chance if we're going to develop a thunderstorm. It'll be in that area. However, we're not forecasting these storms to last a long time, and certainly it's a much different scenario than what we had last week. So as we examine the possibility of that weather, you can see the slight risk of severe thunderstorm development does reach southeast South Dakota. It actually runs all the way back to about Winter and Gregory. And if we zoom in a little tighter on that map, it runs a diagonal towards Sioux City, down into northwest Iowa there a little bit. So keep that in mind as you're busy cleaning up, and so many things to do for so many folks here. We are not as hot as yesterday, so that'll be a little easier to work out in the weather. 85 Sioux Falls. We're going to leave that 20% chance of a shower thunderstorm alone. There could be a couple things that flare up yet later today. Aberdeen, Pierre Rapid City, I think we're pretty much limited here to the morning hours on most of those scattered rain possibilities. That's weather for now. We'll get to your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Brian. Well, the Big Sioux River is still roaring through Falls Park. Sioux Falls Fire Rescue wants to remind people that if you plan on checking it out, be sure to keep a safe distance from the water and avoid the rocks because they can be slippery.
It only takes one little slip, and that's a lot of power that's flowing through the water right now.
Be sure to stay out of the barricaded areas as the city assesses flood damage and cleans up. Well, in political news, 3 primary races are being recounted by the Minnehaha County Auditor's Office. A Minnehaha County Commission race, a contest for the District 11 State House seat, and also a precinct committee race. All were requested by one of the candidates who came within 2% of their opponent.
Today is important for the candidates so that they can, have another go through of their ballots to make sure, see if there's anything that maybe got counted that shouldn't have been. Maybe the tabulator missed a ballot stamp or any various reasons. But it's just important to go through and do a double check.
County Auditor Leah Anderson says the public is invited to watch recounts. Today, she will oversee the election audit. All votes in the primary will be counted by hand. And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, our weather picture as we wrap things up this morning. Well, you can still see some of the flooding going on around the Parker area, some of that headwater into the Vermilion River Basin. Obviously, we're going to continue to track all these flood stories today. New risk of severe weather. The primary focus is eastern Nebraska, western Iowa, but some of that does sneak into far southern KELOLAND, and that pertains to later this afternoon. Basically, today's forecast, first of all, it's several degrees cooler than yesterday. We're not going to be in the 90s. I think more in the middle 80s will cover it. We've had some scattered showers attendant to this low pressure track, which the forecast is for this low to go from west central South Dakota and then take this diagonal track into northern Nebraska. And right ahead of that feature, during the peak heating of the day, is when we can pop up these scattered thunderstorms. They're not going to be widespread. I don't think they're going to necessarily last a long time, but the problem is they're occurring in areas that are very much in the news right now with all this flooding going on. So it's definitely a story that we have to pay attention to. And you can see the flare-up south of Sioux Falls. That's at 5 o'clock. That gives us a couple of working pieces there of information. Now, tonight overnight, we'll see this system drop to the south. The rain probabilities lower. We do filter in some Canadian air here tonight. And high pressure tomorrow will likely keep us a little drier. The chances of organized rain, I would say, are much lower on Wednesday afternoon. We get into Thursday, though, and into Friday, and then we're going to deal with a separate system that's already knocking on our door. Latest word from the Storm Prediction Center on that one, too. We've got a risk of severe thunderstorm development in western South Dakota Thursday, and that front eventually will move east, so we'll have to deal with those items as well here as we go into our forecast. So not entirely smooth sailing, and our 7-day forecast reflects that increasing probability of thunderstorms. Again, though, this will be more of the rounds that come in from time to time here, Thursday and Friday. Friday's a better chance than Thursday for Sioux Falls. Hopefully this whole frontal system will work its way through, and then Saturday into Sunday we'll build in some cooler, less humid weather, especially by Sunday. So Aberdeen will kind of follow the same line of thinking. There are going to be thunderstorms all the way to Canada, so much of North Dakota will get involved in this, and I would easily buy into at least a 60% chance of rain on Friday. We'll start this up on Thursday. Pierre, central South Dakota will also get those thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, too, fairly mild. I would say mid-80s there, and then by the weekend, again, a change up in the air mass. It looks a little less humid and lower chances of thunderstorms. Rapid City, high near 90 on Thursday. That's a hot day. And again, as highlighted there could be some severe weather. Check out more details online at KELOLAND.com.